There are 3 common misconceptions about autoimmunity that are so widespread, unscientific, and harming. When 11 years ago I was diagnosed with autoimmune condition, it took me years to understand that they are not based on science, and I'll explain them to you in less than 10 minutes. This is not a medical advice, it's a linguistic advice. Language is important when we heal because the language is the gate to our nervous system. Our nervous system is a gate to our immune system. If we keep those misleading narratives, we shape our reality in a form that doesn't fit. It all becomes obstacle for our healing. First misleading narrative is that when we have autoimmune condition, that means that our body is attacking us, that our immune system is attacking us. The immune system is too strong, it's overreacting, and it's broken. None of those statements is correct. When I got sick and I was reading the statement that my body is attacking me, I was terrified, because if body, that means me, is attacking me, how can I hide or how can I protect myself from me? This framing puts the nervous system in such a high pressure, and it is incorrect. The body always protects. The body is built to protect. So when we have autoimmune condition, our immune system is not overactive. If it's overactive, that means we need to suppress it. And some medications that do exactly that could be needed for a certain period of time to control the symptoms, because symptoms may be sometimes too damaging to us. But it's not a solution. One way or another, we need to find the root cause. What's triggering the immune system? The immune system is not broken, it's not overactive, it is misdirected. Usually it's not one cause. There are multiple causes, and they can be addressed step by step. What could be those root causes? Leaky gut. Things that are not supposed to go from the gut to the blood are leaking to the blood and activating our immune system, dysregulating it. Chronic infections that we don't even know that we have them. Constant inflammation that we may have because of our nutrition, mold, environmental toxins, nutrient deficiencies, stress-related immune shifts. So all those root causes can be addressed. To find the right language means to find the right way to address what statement could be more scientifically grounded and more empowering. The body is smart. The immune system is intelligent. It is confused. So my job is to help its regulation, not shutting it down. Nobody is attacking us. And by the way, do you know where from this narrative about the body attacking itself comes? It comes from the earlier times. There was just a very little understanding about autoimmunity. There were no obvious cause of those conditions. It was only visible that immune system is doing something. Now we know better. For example, we now know that there are some viruses or some bacteria protecting us from those pathogens. The body activates certain immune pathways. That's the beginning of the story of autoimmune condition. But at that time, there was no knowledge about that. So for example, now we know for the Epstein-Barr virus is important. It may be like one of the triggers of immune reactions and autoimmune conditions of thyroid, or that certain bacteria may be connected with developing of autoimmune arthritis. The body that gives it autoimmune condition tries to solve some problem. The second assumption is that it's genetics. I remember when I went to my endocrinologist, and one of the first questions that he asked was, do any other members of your family have thyroid conditions, autoimmune conditions? I said yes, on both sides. And the face of the doctor was like, what do you expect? Genetics is important. So for example, if in the family we have MTHFR genetic variation, that would probably mean that we also have low methylation, issues with detoxification, certain deficiencies if we are not addressing it. So our body works in a bit like a different way. And if we all genetically have that and we all don't know that, yes, it could be that we will develop certain issues and also autoimmune issues among them. But those autoimmune conditions will not be genetically transmitted, from one to another, from parents to children. Certain predisposition can be transmitted. Lifestyle and environmental factors will be triggers to activate those conditions. Functional medicine, epigenetics. Those fields today give us better understanding that autoimmune conditions can be significantly improved and even sent to remission. Or we may heal, in our language we will say we may heal when we address certain things. For example, we make some dietary shifts. Many people with thyroid conditions would benefit from gluten-free diet. Yes, some people would not. Some people would just be like, I don't see any difference, but how many people would benefit? Reducing stress, understanding trauma and trauma response, and working on those responses with qualified professionals, restoring gut and microbiome health. So instead of thinking that autoimmune conditions are genetic, what would be scientific and more empowering to believe? Genes are only part of the story. My daily choices can shift trajectory of my health. And of course, conditions are different. There are about hundreds of them. Some are more damaging to the body and to the organs and to our systems of organs than others. People are different, bodies are different. So it's not like, everyone is suddenly healed because they quit gluten. And our situations are complex, especially when we have some genetic variations like MTHFR variation. It could be complex, when you're 35 and suddenly you understand that you are not only having autoimmune conditions, but you also are neurodivergent, maybe have hypermobility. There are multiple issues that you have. Don't talk with me. I have a chronic illness and diet doesn't help me. All is true. Situations are complex, people are complex, and decisions also may be complex. But my statement is, genes are not the whole story. Third misconception is really silly and damaging. It's the assumption that autoimmune condition can only get worse with time. This assumption comes from the time where we didn't know what autoimmunity is. And this misleading belief can become self-fulfilling prophecy. And even if I put some research papers and show to a person that, okay, this particular autoimmune condition is connected with those environmental factors, lifestyle factors, and if we would change all those factors, we may expect higher life quality, lowering of the symptoms. People would not believe or will want to reject all those research papers because this program was activated by some doctor who told them that this condition is for life, it can get worse. This kind of narrative takes away hope, and hope is essential for healing. So what I'm trying to say, when we have autoimmune condition, even if full remission is not happening immediately, symptom reduction and improved quality of life are realistic goals. Instead of believing this wrong assumption that autoimmunity gets worse with time, what is more scientifically grounded and more empowering framing that we could have? Autoimmunity is never fixed, it's dynamic. Remission and healing could be possible with the right support. My job is to understand what this right support could be. Instead of thinking, it will never get better because, yes, I have uncle, he never got better. We could try to think, what if it gets better? What if it gets better? This is a very important question because when we start to heal, sometimes it's for our nervous system, it's so unexpected. Sometimes healing, especially if it's fast healing, for nervous system looks a bit unsafe. So sometimes body also can start to protect ourselves from the healing. But that's a topic for another episode. Summing up, I want to say one thing. I clearly remember when the shift happened 11 years ago. Not in the thyroid, but in my brain. This powerful shift was moving from fear to curiosity. If you, like me, have autoimmune condition and you're struggling at the moment, I feel you. I know that sometimes it could be too overwhelming even to think about that. Oh yeah, there are some ways to heal and I need to change my life and so on. There's no power for that. Like there's no strength, there's no energy for that. We can be realistic, we can start change things on the level of language. It's not the surface. The language is the door to nervous system, and nervous system is the door to immune system. Instead of asking the question that I was asking initially, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with my body? We can ask, what is my body trying to tell me? Just like pain, all symptoms that we have when we have autoimmune conditions is the body trying to tell us something. The moment we understand that the body is not our enemy, this shift just by itself can change how we relate to our symptoms. And by doing that, it may help to unlock more compassionate, more efficient healing strategies. And if you have questions about the strategies, you can put those questions in the comments.